Vertebrates and Invertebrates animals. Okay, good morning, grade 6 pupils. So let's have a review of what we discussed last time about vertebrates and invertebrates. So since hindi ko na-discuss sa inyo yung later part ng lesson natin na second quarter. Okay, let's start. Animals are everywhere. Some of them live on the water. Others fly and many others are terrestrial. All of them share key features. They can move around and eat other living beings. The animal kingdom is the most largest of all living things. It is so diverse that we need to classify animals in groups to be able to study their characteristics. Great English naturalist Charles Darwin knew all about studying and classifying animals. The animal kingdom can be classified into two large groups: vertebrates animals that have vertebrate columnar spine and invertebrates animals that do not have it. Vertebrates animals are more developed than invertebrates because their bone and muscle structures allows them to grow more and move around better. Vertebrate animals can be split up with the following groups: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Fish live in rivers and seas. Their body are covered with scales. They have fins to swim around and their gills that allows them to breathe on the water. Amphibians have four limbs. They're both like fish and develop until they reach terrestrial vertebrates. Crocodile is not amphibians but a reptile. Similar to fish, the skin of a reptile is covered by scales and have four limbs to move around. Except for snakes that they drag themselves along on the ground, and many of them know how to swim. Next, birds. Birds are covered with feathers. They have beak, legs, and two wings that allow them to fly, but not all of them know how to do it. Birds lay eggs like most fish, amphibians, and reptiles. And finally, mammals, the most developed group of vertebrates in the animal kingdom. Their young develop inside the mother's womb until they're born. Then they fed with the mother's milk. Some mammals fly like bat and others live in the water, but most of them are terrestrial. Okay, let me ask you, what are the classification of vertebrates? Who can answer? Now, let's move on to invertebrates. Do you know that in 100 animals that live on Earth, 98 are invertebrates? Invertebrates also can be classified into several groups. Spiders, insects, and crabs are arthropods. They have legs to move around on land or sea, and some of them also fly. All of them have an external skeleton that protects their body. Next, mollusks have a soft body. Some of them have shell and others have long tentacles, and they're also terrestrial mollusks. The invertebrates that live on the sea that stand out are the sponge, that have a sac-shaped body and not a mobile. Next is the jellyfish that have a tentacles and move around freely. And then the starfish, they drag their body along the seafloor. And let's not forget the group of invertebrates that we are all familiar with, the worms. They're terrestrial or aquatic animals with elongated body and without legs. Okay, and that's it, Pansit. All about invertebrates. So we classify it as arthropods, mollusks, sponge, jellyfish, starfish, and worms. Okay, thank you. Next lesson na tayo.